48 years after Boyce's visit to Ireland, I sit here by the Lagan in Belfast to consider my relationship to his work. By the time he made this Celtic tour, his legacy was already confirmed. He came with a great grow for Joyce and a message for us of unity in diversity. A potent one, certainly, but possibly too stark to be heard amid the noise of the guerrilla conflict playing out on the streets. I'm gnawing on the bones of Boyce's work. In 2011, I met Wolfgang Wiens, the dramaturg, theatre producer, and longtime collaborator of Robert Wilson. One particular day, he regaled me with stories of his work with Boyce. In 1969, he worked with him on Titus Andronicus' Iphigenia for the Experimented 2 Festival in Frankfurt am Main. And we laughed for days over the intensity of the rehearsals, the negotiations with the horse, and what they planned to do if the horse shat all over the stage during the performance. Let me describe the piece briefly for you. Boyce walks on stage in a long fur coat. At the back of the stage, a white horse is tethered, grazing on a mound of hay. An upright microphone stands downstage in the middle, waiting. Boyce takes off his fur coat and is left in his iconic uniform. In 2005, I worked as Marina Abramovich's personal assistant during her 7 easy pieces at the Guggenheim. For this exhibition, Abramovich re-performed 6 iconic performances from the 60s and 70s. Naumann, Aconchi, Pane, Valley Expo, and Boyce. And for her re-performance of Boyce's How to Explain Pictures to a Dead Hare, I applied the honey and gold leaf onto her head. In the curator's office, I smeared and spilt honey over Marina's hair and face, over the chair, over myself, a sticky, oozing mess, and delicious too. And then I pressed sheafs of gold leaf onto her head. Bits of gold leaf flew into the air, and we ate the flying gold. Good for the digestion, she told me. Are we ready to hear Boyce's Irish message yet? Mr. Leopold Bloom ate with relish the inner organs of beasts and fowls, wrote Mr. Joyce. I gnaw gloriously on the bones of Mr. Boyce.
Hello everybody and welcome to The Art as Well. This is a sort of a special edition because it's to coincide with the Bear Island Arts Festival, and that's running from the 18th to 21st, I think, of September. And I know you, or my guest Amanda Coogan, has a particular interest on the 19th, which happens to be also Culture Night. Am I right?
Oh, that's right. I never made the connection.
Yeah, apparently so. I was just looking it up earlier on, and I thought, yeah, right, that's exactly the same date.
Brilliant.
Anyway, Amanda, you've been described by the Irish Times as Ireland's foremost performance artist, and a title that has been well earned over the years.
I'd say there's many contenders for that, but they're very good for saying that already.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
So listen, I know not a lot about your career, other than what I've read through your website and various other things. So perhaps for the people watching, could you give us a sort of a potted history of who you are, what you've been up to? Because one little feature I'd like to say, because I know, is a first for me, and that is you're the first person I've ever met whose first language was actually sign language in Irish.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
shall we start with that?
yeah.
How
So,
did that come about?
yeah, my parents are deaf
Yes.
and they're sign language users, brilliant activists within the deaf community here in Ireland.
Hmm.
And so the language of my home growing up was sign language. So once we went in the door, it was a very visual house,
Yes.
and sign language is very visual, manual language. So everything from, when my friends would knock on the door, the lights would flash on and off inside our house so that my parents would know.
All
Um,
right. Yeah. And
what
why Irish, Amanda?
it's the language, the native language, sign language of the Irish deaf community.
Oh, is it?
So, as you
Oh.
can imagine, all languages kind of develop from the people, from the communities that are using them. So,
Hmm.
Irish Sign Language is very different to British Sign Language, different to American Sign Language, French Sign Language. We have roots in all of those, but
Yes.
it is a unique and very beautiful. I'm very biased, but a beautiful,
Yes.
embodied language.
And you've carried this right throughout your career into theatre and various other things, haven't you?
Yeah, I think that all through my practice,
Mm.
sign language or being, I suppose, implicating the
Mm.
body being the forefront of the communication. I suppose really, I have employed that. Is that the right term?
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
too sure,
Yeah.
but it's been very, very important
Okay.
for my work. And then very formally, I use sign language in some of my works. In my
Mm.
solo works, I'd often uh, throw in a dreamlike way. I'd make some sign language, what I call poems. And I work very closely with the Dublin Theatre of the Deaf. So we've done a lot of collaborations together.
Okay. Okay. So can we go back to where the whole thing started in terms of your education? Because I know you went to the Limerick School of Art,
I
you also went
did,
to NCAD, and then
yeah.
you went to the Athens School of Fine
Oh,
Art.
that's right. My goodness, it was what's such a treat. I
Yeah.
left school and I knew that I wanted to be an artist, and I went to Limerick, and I studied in the painting department.
Right.
And in the painting department there, I started making very big canvases and being much more interested then in the gestures that I was making rather than the actual finished product of the painting.
Mm.
And I got some pals to turn the camera on me as I'm making these activities. So it was very organic, my kind of discovery of performance art. And I wouldn't even have known that there was such a thing at that
Mm.
stage. So I started, because I was interested in it, of course, I started to read up more on art history.
Mm.
And from there, I moved up to NCAD because in their sculpture department, and my degree is in sculpture,
So I believe, yeah, yeah.
uh, in their sculpture department, they had Alan Kelly,
Mm.
a brilliant Irish performance artist, and Pauline Cummins, another amazing Irish performance artist, and Louise Walsh, again a performance artist,
Mm.
or she has performance within her practice. They were all teaching in the sculpture department.
All right.
So
Yeah.
I went there really hungry to learn
Mm.
about what I knew. This, when you go to art college as a young person, you're trying to find your vocabulary, you're trying to find your voice, I suppose. So I knew I was getting closer and closer to it as I discovered these gestures and an embodied practice. And then I got a lovely government scholarship to go to Athens for a year, which was
All right. Yes.
incredible. I did a kind of uh, a Greek government scholarship. So I studied in the art college there for a year, which was just glorious and really bedded into classical studies and all of those rich, rich resources they have in terms of museums and stuff.
And
In
were you still
Athens.
working in sculpture at this stage?
Oh no,
No.
it was sculpture and performance,
All right. Okay.
both of them. Actually, forgive me, I was in Athens before I went to NCAD.
Were you? Okay.
between Limerick and
Yeah.
um, NCD, and uh, I had a solo show there, which was a mixture of sculptures that I manipulated. I made live movements around them.
Yes.
Um, and then after NCD, pretty fast, I looked around Europe to study with Marina Abramovich, to do a master's with her. And I found her in a art college called Habika Braunschweig, in a
Mhm.
town, a city called Braunschweig in northern Germany. And
Yes.
so I went over and I studied with her in my master's at a very high level,
Mm.
um, for 2 years over in Germany. And I've kind of had a consistent relationship with her since. That
Yes.
was 25 years ago. Um,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, and so she's curated me, or since then, or commissioned me to do different works, or most recently, I suppose, that I worked on her. I reperformed a piece of hers called um, "The House with the Ocean View."
Hmm.
But before that, I worked with the most incredible director, Robert Wilson, who just passed away a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Oh,
And we made an opera. I was one of the cast of an opera, which was The Life and Death of Marina Abramovich.
hmm.
Incredible, also an incredible learning experience, because Bob,
Yes.
uh, his methodology of directing is very much a
Mhm.
teaching, directing kind of thing. And so I was in that production from the get go, as we workshopped it and developed it, and then toured it around Europe and
Right.
America.
For those who don't know, and but most will, about Marina, can you tell us a little bit about her? Because I mean that must have been an extraordinary experience to be learning under her.
I was
Yeah.
yeah, I'm very privileged.
Mm.
It was absolutely
So tell us who she
incredible. She's
is.
an incredible teacher.
Yeah.
So Marina styles herself the godmother, what did you call it? Godmother, grandmother of performance art. She's been
Yes.
practicing since the early 70s, very much known for endurance-based masochistic performances.
Hmm.
Um, in her early career, where she would lie back and scream until her voice was gone, or um, do some bloodletting performance. She
Mm.
famously cut a star onto her belly, um, stabbed knives in between her fingers, and maybe more recently, I suppose, as she's got a lot older, um, she might be very well known for a piece she did in MoMA in New York, the Museum of Modern Art, where she sat
Mm.
at a
Yes.
table
Yeah.
and invited people to come and sit with her and kind of meditate
Yeah.
for as long as they wanted. And she was there for, I think, 3 months. It was incredible
And I
endurance.
think one of the people who sat in front of her was a former husband or something. Am I right?
Oh, Ulai. So for a long time, I think nearly 10 years, she had a collaborative working relationship. Both in their private lives, they were partners, and in their working lives, they were collaborators and
Okay.
partners. Um, and herself and Ulai famously walked the Great Wall of China and met in the middle.
Really?
Mhm.
Gosh. Yeah.
It's a beautiful piece called The Lovers,
Mm.
um, which she often shows in her retrospectives. She had it on in the Royal Academy of Arts in London, where I went over and did and re-performed this gargantuan piece called House with the Ocean View, where I lived in the gallery for 12 days, and you don't eat and you don't speak, and literally
Well,
literally
12
go
days.
wild for 12
Do you
days.
sleep?
Not well, not well.
No, no, I
Yeah,
would have
yeah.
thought so.
I think when
And
you're
is
starving, that's
endurance very much part of your work, is
it
it?
is. Endurance is it's
Yeah.
fundamental to my work, but I wouldn't wear it on my sleeve as much as maybe Marina and the
Yes.
older generation would. I think that it is embedded in the practice.
Okay.
I would much more call myself a durational performance artist. So
Mm.
with duration comes endurance.
Yeah.
So when you are, I'd say anything over 3 hours is really a durational performance.
Yeah. Okay.
Before that, it's not so taxing. you know.
Yes, yes, yes.
And in durational performance, you fall into flow, and then you crack out of flow, and then you have to climb back into flow, and this makes it a much deeper flow. So it's very engaged, very particular
Yes.
type of practice. So I always like working within the framework of galleries and museums. That when they open, I'd like to be there already performing. And then my recent show called Caught in the Furs for Cork Midsummers with the Glucksmann Gallery, for example, I was inside and I'd started performing, and then the doors opened and the audience came in. And then just as I think it finished at 5 o'clock, we would ask the invigilators, and the curator would ask the audience to leave. And they would leave and the doors would close, and then I'd finish the performance. So you don't see the beginning of it and you don't see the end of it. It's very much contained in that particular space.
And how much of a work like that is premeditated? You
Oh, I
know,
develop it very,
do you?
yeah, very, very particularly
Mm,
carefully
okay.
considered. But I wouldn't have a script for every minute that I was doing. So I'd
Yes,
have a kind of a palette of gestures
right.
uh, and activities that I wanted to do, but then I would allow the space and the audience and whatever happens within that. So one gesture one day might take 2 hours, and
Mm.
another day it might take 2 minutes, so I
And
allow it to
yeah,
build out in that way.
sure, sure. And is any of it determined by the reaction of the audience? Because just in
Always.
that particular work, they're really in front of you
Yeah,
and they're
they're with
sitting
me, they're
against the
right
wall on the
beside
side
me.
for,
Absolutely.
yeah.
No, very much it is an interaction where I don't speak to the audience,
No,
but
no.
I'm very much interacting with them. In Caught in the Furs, I had for example, I had a cup and a cup and a plate,
Hmm.
beautiful little teacup and a plate. And so with this, and the inside is gold. It's actually my grandmother's.
All right.
So I was showing them this all the time, and depending who was there and how engaged they were, I would peep the gold of the inside. The kind of, for me, it was like opening Pandora's box in my
Mm.
head,
Yes.
and then I'd shine a light in it. I did lots of different things with that, but that gesture could take hours depending on
Mm.
uh, uh, how the audience were going.
And that was videoed, and we're going to take a look at a bit of that, okay?
Oh, super.
so just looking back on what we've seen on that, um, the person who was actually filming that, how much of that
Colin
was
Walsh, a
directed?
brilliant
Pardon?
filmmaker, Colin
Hmm.
Walsh, came into me for an hour every day, very much followed the gestures of what I was doing and how the audience were, and really sensitively, really beautifully
Hmm.
um, uh, uh,
Sort of captured it.
documented and captured
Yeah.
the live performance. And we're hoping to uh, tour that, show that as a series of 7 films
How are you?
stage in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. Because there's one thing about performance that I've noticed very few are captured on film. Now,
Yeah,
sorry, it's me saying that, but my understanding of it, certainly in the past, it was
absolutely.
rarely captured.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, when we're talking about ephemerality and the kind of the beginnings of performance art in the 60s and 70s was all about the ephemeral, about the gesture of now, of it not being captured, not being a part of the capitalist system of buying and selling art. So it
Mhm.
very much comes from that, uh, I suppose, philosophy
Yeah.
in those ways. It's not so much now, it's a little more different, I suppose. Maybe about Janie Mac, about 15, maybe 20 years ago at this stage, big collections around the world started realizing that they didn't have any works from the
Mm.
great performance artists,
Mm.
from Abramovich, from Tina Segal is a German performance artist who who kicked off all of this, and so they started buying performance art, and that can take different ways. You can sell them an object about around the piece, or photographs of it, or video of it, or uh, just a script for it, a
Yes.
narrated, a narrated script of what would happen within the
Mhm.
performance. So that's really changed the game, because with collections around the world, and our brilliant collections, the Arts Council and the Irish Museum of Modern Art and the Crawford and the Glucksman down in Cork, all of those are trying to make sure that they have a good representation of the art that was being
Mm.
made in the country, significant works that
Yes.
were being made at the time. So um, all of these things have broadened out the the philosophical way of just making an ephemeral piece of work.
Yes. 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 And tell me, what sort of, when you do a work like that, what is inspiring it? Is it sort of life experience? Is it basically a psychological expression of what's going on in your head? Do you know, are there themes? Because I know some of the themes they sound as if they're pretty of this world, yet some of the performance is almost not of this world.
Yeah, yeah. What a wonderful observation, Jane Mac. I suppose that I'm always curious. I'm just curious about parts of our world, our society, our lived experience that haven't been spoken about, or what happens
Yes.
here. Um, uh, and often I would, with that curiosity, I'd do an awful lot of research on a
Mm.
story.
Yeah.
For example, I'm completely obsessed with this story of women who were called wrens, who lived
Mm.
around Ireland in the middle of the 19th century. It's my current obsession.
Yeah.
Uh, and lived in furze bushes,
Mhm.
and really were obviously homeless, but extraordinarily outcast, impoverished women, but came together in a very strong community that supported each other even in this very, very difficult life experiences that they had.
Mhm.
And so I'd read a lot, and then from reading and research, you get ideas.
Mm.
And as I say, with these, for example, with Caught in the Furs, and another piece I made a few years ago called They Came Then the Birds. These women lived in furze bushes, and furze bushes are just the most incredible, scraggly bushes that we see all around
Yeah.
the
Otherwise known as
country.
gorse.
Gorse, gorse, or whin bushes, or
Oh,
furze.
really? Yeah.
Um, it's the same plant, and so of course then I had to try and bring them into a gallery. And then when you dislocate something and put it into a white cube,
Mm.
you read it in a different way. It becomes a
Yes.
potential, either a metaphorical potential or an emotional potential idea. So
Mm.
I would hope, and I think it's true to say that people come to see my performances or my installations, come and they are offered different objects to consider,
Hmm.
and maybe I would always invite the audience to dream up what it means for them, or what it means in general. Like
Mm.
I offer
Yes.
an exploration and a curiosity, but the meaning of that is something that myself and the audience together make up.
Sure, sure. And it's kind of in a sense a wee bit like some painting where it can be destroyed by putting a label on it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that the
You
interpretation
close
can be
down the,
vastly different from the intention of the artist.
yeah,
And if so, why not? I mean, I was looking at part of your performance in what we've just seen, and I actually felt very emotional, quite
yeah,
sad at one point,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and I
yeah.
couldn't work out why. There's
I
one.
know, and I don't know if I know why either,
Yeah, yeah.
because sometimes I'm in my head, of course, while I'm performing, I'm going through lots of, thinking and enjoying it. And
Mm.
sometimes I'm really having fun.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at the audience and they're crying or they're really emotional about it. And I'm going, well, I don't, I
What
don't know.
did I do?
I don't know what I did there. Um,
Yeah.
and sometimes, and I don't really want to know what I did there. That's up
Mm.
to whatever people bring. Um,
Yes.
they're
Yes.
very welcome.
Yeah. Fantastic. What would be the sort of standout moments, Amanda, of your career that you really thought, I am loving this. This is fantastic.
I always love being in long durational performances.
Okay.
Absolutely love it,
Mm.
because I find it very iterative. Um,
Mm.
because I'm in a super creative space,
Yeah.
and it leads to the next piece and the next piece and the next piece. So I absolutely, give me a juicy long durational performance,
Mm.
and I'm absolutely in my happy place.
Are there ever times when
Very difficult.
oh, I'm
I feel
sure it is.
very nervous. And just
Yeah.
before I go live, I always go, "Oh, why am I a painter? Why am I doing this to myself? Why?" you know,
Well, I
but
also
I
had the
think it's
thought watching
part of the
you
process.
that if I was to do that for the length of time that you did it, I think I'd be in bed for a couple of days after it.
Oh, more than a couple of
The
days.
pains and the aches
Oh, listen, more than
and
a
the
couple of
muscles
days.
you never knew you had.
I am not worth anything for at
Hmm.
least 2 or 3 weeks after a
Yeah.
duration
Yeah.
performance. I can't make decisions. I lie on the couch. I just need to absolutely, yeah, you'd be a bit sore, but that's just like a workout.
Sure.
That's
Sure.
just like you had a
No,
heavy
no
metal
gain without
session.
pain.
Yeah, I know, I know. And you always hope there's no
Yeah.
injury, but Doctor Theatre, as they say, uh,
Yes. Yes.
you wouldn't get
And
injured. And because it's my own work, I can always nuance it if something is
sure. Yeah.
not going right physically. I can always nuance it.
Okay. Given we're talking just a couple of days or weeks, whatever it is, but before the Bear Island Arts Festival, can you explain to everybody what you're actually doing there?
Well, I'm giving a workshop one of the days,
Yes.
which I'm really excited for because they're always glorious times where we all get together and we do all these exercises and explore things together. And then I'm hoping to make another iteration of this exploration of the wrens.
Right. Yeah.
So we're in negotiation to see how many furze bushes we can get.
And when you talk about the wren, I think you have a very ornate costume that you
Oh
use in that
yes,
performance. Am I right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, uh,
And very lovely looking.
it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's very funny because my grandmother's Middleton from Cork.
Mm.
And so I wanted to have a few little things of hers. She's passed away, and you know, when people pass away, other grandchildren went into the house. It just took a few little memories of
Yes.
hers. I
Yes.
have this tea set, and I had some for clothes, and the jacket actually is hers.
Ah. Okay.
A beautiful jacket of hers. I don't know. Well, my mother says she would approve very much of what I
Yes.
did to it. And actually, I had since COVID. It's all very uh, uh, you've kind of follow your nose in the studio.
Mm.
Since COVID, I had lots and lots of plastic gloves hanging around in the studio.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kept knowing that I wanted to make something with them. Hands obviously are really important to me, to my upbringing as a sign language user, but also
Yes.
as a maker, a sculptor who uses the hands to make things. And so they're all plastic gloves
Mm.
that I stuck on to the
Ah, right.
piece thin
Okay.
layers, and so it becomes very big,
I
almost.
wouldn't have guessed that now, but yes, I can
Yeah,
see it now. Yeah.
yeah. It becomes like a feathery or something like that.
Yes. Yes. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. When you conceive these things, do you kind of go for walks up hills and
Yeah.
suddenly say, ah,
Uh,
I have an
well,
idea?
sometimes you're also doing the wash up and you go,
Oh,
ah,
yeah. Sure. Okay.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're in the shower and you go, ah, or wake up in the middle of the night and go, ah. Who knows when things click into place? And often I find long drives are incredible. Uh,
Really. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I live very close to a kind of a wilderness.
Hmm.
Um, up here called the Lagan Meadows, which has loads of furze bushes right beside the river, and I'd go for walks up there, absolutely, absolutely to
Fantastic.
clear the head. But you know
Yeah.
what? If I inspiration, I suppose, for want of a better word, doesn't come without doing all the hard slog
Oh,
of
yeah. Yeah.
reading, thinking, sitting in the studio, doodling and drawing. But you need to often make a space to let that just sink in, I suppose.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah. And would you write things down, Amanda?
oh,
You
yeah,
know,
I
almost like a
scribble.
film script. Not a
No,
script, but you know
not
what I
so
mean?
much. It'd be much more like drawings,
Yes. Okay.
drawings and scribbles. I have my sketchbook here, scribbles,
Oh,
and then
great. Yeah. Yeah.
notes to what it should be, or uh, like really awful scribbles
You
drawing.
did go to our college, didn't you? Yeah.
I did go to art college. I know it's awful. And sometimes I look at things like this and I go, did I actually go to art college for 10, 11
You know,
years?
as long as it means something to you, Amanda, it doesn't.
I
Yeah.
know. And then, I mean, drawing is very much part of my practice,
Yeah.
but I do these squiggles in the sketchbook, and
Mm.
then I do another drawing on paper, and
Mm.
then once that drawing is fixed a bit better in my head, then I put it on, and I love working in ink, so I usually use watercolor paper, much more formal drawings like that.
Yes.
And in Quote and Verse, I had 7 drawings in there in the room,
Mm.
which were what I called the script. So they were very clear to me, anyway,
Yes.
the gestures that they were. There were 7 of them that
Yeah.
I would They were as I say, the kind of palette of gestures,
I think
and
we'll
they were
show
the
some of those
voice.
if that's okay, can we?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
please. Yeah,
yeah. I think
yeah,
I've seen some of them, so
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I can.
we can do that. Amanda, can I take you back just to the workshop? Because if I'm a contender for the workshop, I don't know if it's booked out at this stage or whatever, but if I was to go, I'd be scared silly, you know.
Oh no,
So
no.
can you put my mind at rest and other people that if they were to do your workshop, what exactly, how should they prepare and the rest, in terms of
Yeah.
what you'd want them to do?
So what I found, and I've done an awful lot of workshops myself
Mm,
with great, brilliant artists like Marina, like Alistair McLennan up here in Belfast, um,
yes.
Marilyn Narsom over in Boston, incredible uh, artists, and so I use a lot of their exercises. And so what I just ask people, what I think happens is that it just changes your perspective, changes the way you look at the
Yes.
world around you.
Hmm.
So sometimes we walk backwards looking in a mirror. So you have to navigate
Yeah.
the world through this little mirror.
Hmm.
Or a beautiful exercise from Alistair McLennan, where you just walk with a overfull glass of water, and once you have to try and navigate the body so that you don't spill it.
Mm.
So just becoming much more aware of how when you lift your foot, your hip goes a different way, and this affects your balance.
Yeah.
So all of these beautiful perception
Mm.
changes.
Yes.
And what I absolutely love doing, and it's a real vocabulary in my work, is a slow motion exercise. And these are incredible.
Mm.
I particularly love doing them outside when the wind is blowing in a normal time zone and we are all very it's a form of meditation, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then really kicking this into the creative brain,
Mm.
where, in whatever way, whether you're a writer, whether you're a filmmaker, or a painter, or a dancer, or a musician, it's all about connecting into your creative thinking
Yes.
in an embodied way. So that's really what the exercise.
So people are going to leave with a completely different perspective on movement, on vision, on observance of everything, I would
I
imagine.
hope.
Yeah. No, I can see how that would happen. Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. And then you're doing a separate performance yourself, aren't you?
Yes. On the Sunday, I'll be live for about 2 or 3 hours. I'll be live anyway, the afternoon of the Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. And is that something where people can literally pop in and out of?
And treat it like an exhibition. Yeah.
Yes.
Pop in, pop out again. I always think with durational performances, it's always very interesting to see them at the start
Mm.
and then at the middle and then at the end.
All right. So pop out
Because
and
it
pop back in.
calibrates it.
Yep.
Time has this imperceptible effect on
Yes.
the live performances. So
Mm.
I would absolutely be encouraging everyone to come and uh, you know meet pals there. Come and look at the exhibition. Go have a coffee and have the chats with them. Pop
Mm.
back in and pop back out again. Have your lunch and come back in and just see how it recalibrates itself, because it will be very different from the beginning to the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amanda, do you ever talk to people after a performance and not in a sort of a quizzical way, but simply, hi, how are you? And then listen to what they say about their experience and what they
It's
gleaned from it and so on.
so important. It's
Yeah,
so rich for me
I bet.
because often my brain is very empty after a performance. I'm a little empty.
I know.
So, and if you ask me what the performance was about after I finished the performance, I'll be like, I haven't a clue. I don't know
Haven't a
what.
clue.
Yeah, wouldn't have a clue. You're just because I've been concentrating on in a different place.
Yes.
But when people, like, it is an absolute it's a richness. It's such a gift to me when people tell me what they saw or
Mm.
thought or experienced
Yes.
in the performance, because this is building also the meaning of the performance
Mm.
for us all, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those chats post performance are incredibly
And how do you encourage that, just as a matter of interest? And the reason I'm asking you is because if you take an actor on stage and they're doing a play, the curtains come down, big applause, everyone goes home. And the actor's probably saying, okay, I know they applauded, but they were probably being polite. Do they get anything out of it? Whereas I love the idea that you actually try and meet people after.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And how do you
absolutely.
get that interaction? Do you
Well,
hang around?
yeah, usually outside of the gallery space or
Yeah.
something when we're going, if there's a cup of tea or
Hmm.
a pint afterwards. And some people email me actually
Do
if they
they?
want to
Yeah.
write it down, or a lot of people will tell the curator,
Yes.
and then the curator will do a feedback session with me.
Yeah.
Oh, Amanda, this woman came in and she said, oh, it reminded her of
Lovely. Yeah.
different things, and they're incredible. Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. Do you see the art form changing in any way over the
Performance.
years? Yeah, performance. I mean,
Uh,
for instance, we were talking about the fact that heretofore it wasn't recorded. Now it is
yeah,
very much being recorded. That's a change.
it is.
Are there any other things that mark the progress of the performance as an art?
I think, and certainly because I'm a student of Abramovich, if
Yeah.
the kind of lineage, if you know what I mean, of
Mm.
my practice. Certainly, when she um, was, and she would still say it actually, that performance art is very different to theatre, and theatre is all about fakery, and performance art is all about the reality. I think she famously said, you know,
Yeah.
on the theatre, someone's bleeding, they use the ketchup, and in performance
Mm.
art, if it's about blood, they actually use their own blood.
Yeah.
That is not really the case anymore. There's
Mm.
much more of a crossover between theatre practice and performance art practice.
Is there? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's very 70s.
Sure.
You
Okay.
know, we wear no shoes. We let it all hang out, kind of stuff.
Oh, that's when you're a hippie.
Much more, yeah, it's much more nuanced now. I borrow from theatre, theatre borrows from my practice.
Mm.
There's much more
Yeah.
of a
And
crossover.
have you ever acted in the traditional sense of the word, acting on stage or film? Because in a sense, what you're doing, I mean, when I look at you, I just see this most incredible gestures and looks and that I say, wow, there's so much going on there
Yeah,
that you
yeah,
could nearly script.
yeah, yeah. After it,
Yeah,
I think that for me as an embodied practitioner, I need to make it first,
yeah.
and then go, ah, that's that's the
Mm.
script for that. But
Yeah.
I have performed for other people a
Hmm.
good couple of times. I suppose that Robert Wilson show, The Life and Death of Marina Abramovich, where it was very much performance art within the opera.
Hmm.
Um, I was an ensemble cast member,
All right.
and I was a cast member for Junk Ensemble's piece. They're a dance theatre company,
Hmm.
a beautiful piece called Dolores.
Yes.
And I've done a few little bits, and I love jumping into the theatre. Actually, I learned so much from it.
Yeah.
But I actually work for money, because guess performance artists don't earn an awful lot of money. uh,
Mm. Yeah.
I work for money as a theatre interpreter, so I do a lot of theatre.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I would be on stage in the Abbey, in the Gate, in the
Yeah.
Project Arts Centre, in the Lyric Theatre in Belfast, interpreting their plays. So that's a lot of acting, because I need to act out each role, each part. You know what
But
I mean?
in a directional sense, are you talking?
Yes, well, I did. I was down at Kilkenny Arts Festival this weekend working with Rough Magic on their What Are You Afraid Of
Mm.
production, the Peter Hanley show. And actually, Lynn Parker, the director, and myself had lots of conversations. She
Mm.
directed me in certain ways, and how I could best serve that production.
Yes,
for
yes.
example. So yeah, I would talk to the directors often and
Very interesting.
get direction from them.
Okay, listen, Amanda, the very best of luck with the Bear Island Arts Festival.
I'm so
I hope,
excited to come
yeah, I
down.
hope it goes very well for
And
you.
Mary O'Sullivan is a dynamo.
Isn't she
I'll do
fantastic?
anything for her. She's
She's
just
wonderful,
brilliant. Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. And do you know, I mean, I really would, I'm going to follow your career, obviously, but I'd be fascinated, and I know people who are watching will be fascinated to see what's next from Amanda Coogan. And
Brilliant.
what is next that you can tell us about? Is there anything
I don't
particular
know.
project? No?
I'm making it up as I go along. Making
All
it up
right.
as I go along. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're doing a very good job of it.
Dreaming up a new work as we speak.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. Listen, a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Gorgeous to talk to you too, Alan. Thanks a million.
Thank you. Bye-bye.